Okay, let me check. I think we are live now.
Okay.
Okay, I think so. So as we kind of get ready. let me ju- Okay, great. Yeah, I can hear sounds. So that's good. Okay. So, very good morning to everyone. Okay, so you can see well, it's actually just the two of us here on the show, but Karen has her setup, okay, such that you will see that later on she can demo with her hands, okay, so we can work along with her. Okay, I will be also making art alongside, and I'll be also guiding with some of the prompts, okay, but today, okay, welcome to our session, okay, this is for Project Dadu, okay, dear auntie, dear uncle, and our particular segment is called making it pom pom pipi, right? So hello everybody.
Hello.
Okay, great, great. Thank you for your support, okay, of this Silver Good project. So we thought that we'll do this live demo, to kind of like inspire the rest of you to make your cards, okay, to bring some cheer to some of these seniors in the nursing home, right? And you just wanted to kind of mention that, like some of the items that you should have prepared by now, okay, which is A4 paper, okay, some scissors, okay, some yarn. I think, yeah, Karen is holding the yarn. Some either used tissue roll, toilet roll, okay, or I'm using a fork, okay, and we'll demo how that kind of looks like. And some coloring materials, okay, some old magazines if you want. And I think why we wanted to do this was to kind of make sure that, I think for seniors, feeling different types of fabric textures provides this sort of sensory stimulation. So, seniors can actually learn through their hands, okay, and they may also find comfort in some of these familiar objects. So, like today we're using yarn, which is something quite tactile, quite nice, okay. So we're gonna go ahead and start, and then later I will provide more prompts. But if you already have some ready-made pom-poms, that's good. Okay, but we're gonna make some together with you. Okay. So over to you, Karen.
Okay. So I prepared also like a cardboard, uh, which is something like this with a middle. In the middle, it's cut out as well. Or you could also use your hand. So the idea is to curl the yarn around the cardboard.
Okay, so while Karen is using cardboard, I'm going to be using a fork. Okay, so some of you can see the fork in my picture, right? So over here, I will use yarn as well. I will prepare some yarn, and we're going to make pom-poms like this.
So if the diameter that's a little bit bigger, I think it's to go tighter as well. So as in you have to use more yarn.
So Karen, how tight should we do this particular yarn? Should we make it as tight as possible?
Yeah, it should be quite tight so that it will turn out quite fluffy for the pom pom.
Okay, and I mean, based on your experience, what's a good gauge? Like, is this kind of enough, or should we do as much as you have?
Mm, so if this is done on the cardboard, right, and then there's it should be quite tight here,
Hmm.
and then you can take an extra yarn. Okay, you can take the yarn out of the cardboard where it should look something like that.
Okay.
Then tie the little piece of yarn in the middle to tighten it. So it should look like a little ribbon.
Okay.
So we can go. So there are actually two ends here from the curling of the yarn, so you can tie everything together to kind of tighten it.
Yeah. So I think Karen is showing one way of doing pom-poms, which is using the original ends, but you can also cut an additional string, okay, as I was experimenting. You can cut an additional string and tie it, okay, to the pom-pom as well. So you can tighten before you actually take it up.
Mm.
Okay? Because I think sometimes maybe our hands may be quite, it is a lot of fine motor control, so maybe you might want to um, do it, okay, okay, this way, such that then you remove it. So similar to what Karen has done,
Yeah.
and then you can snip off all these extra excess bits.
Mm. Or you can use it to hold it on first.
Ah, okay,
Like I
yeah,
will
that's
use this as a support. And then because all these are loops, so I
yeah.
have to snip all this off first.
Okay, so we get into the loops. Okay, so as you can see, Karen used a bigger cardboard. Okay, whereas for mine, mine is a smaller pom pom, using just a fork.
Okay. So when the loops are done, you can start snipping it off to uh make it into a pom pom like this.
Mhm. So we
So this
trim
is
off.
not, yeah, it's not trimmed yet.
Wow, this looks exciting.
Mm. So I think the size of the cardboard or fork or the diameter itself will make the difference of how big your pom pom is going to be.
Yep. So with the used kitchen rolls, Karen, do we cut it out like a flat piece, or do we use like a roller piece to kind of do the yarn?
So you can actually use one like this, or you can
Mhm.
use two rolls together to make it a bigger pom pom. Because the
Oh,
idea is that you need to uh, curl the yarn around, and then there's a loop in between. As long as there's a loop in between to tie it together, uh, it works.
yes. Okay. So we can basically adapt, right, with whatever materials we have to try.
Mm. So
I
it's
mean,
quite a
now
lot of
listening
trimming.
to you, I'm just getting some inspiration as well. So I'm just going to try some of. I don't know how well it will work, but I think we have, at about 20 minutes we're going to spend together to make some of these pom poms, and then maybe in about 10 minutes or so we can kind of like move to making, starting some of the cards. Okay, so you all can get some ideas, okay, as to how you might want to put these pom poms together.
Ta-da! Oh, this is a much. Yeah, there's quite a lot of trimming.
Mhm.
you can give your pom pom a little bit of a roll as well to make it puffy.
Mm. So I guess the idea is to, kind of also play around with the idea of pom-poms, okay, because some of it can be tighter, okay, but I kind of like sometimes some of the more scraggly ones, okay. They might make for very interesting textures, okay. So it depends on the type of effect that you want, right? So maybe one
Mm.
that's more loose, okay, or one that's kind of like really tight, okay.
Ah, how many are you done with?
I'm done with three, but maybe I thought as you're kind of doing more of this, I will kind of just start off the greeting card, okay, so others can take a
Okay.
look. Yeah. So as Karen is kind of trimming her pom-poms and getting her greeting card ready, I have some ideas for mine. So I'm going to go ahead and start. So this is my paper, right? So remember, get A4 size paper, okay, and then we'll get it to about A5 size, right? So when it's folded. Okay, so this is kind of a good size for our seniors. Okay, so roughly A5 size. Okay. And then I think the recommendation for all of us is to maybe not have too much text, okay, but you can write dear auntie or dear uncle, okay, either at the front or in the middle of it, okay. But I think with the pom-poms that we have, I'm going to actually, you will notice that when they become so three-dimensional, okay, we might actually need to just place them on the front, right? So then maybe I'll do more of the decoration on the front, and then the insides, okay, I can leave it to do a bit of drawing, a bit of coloring, and writing some text. Okay? So it will just be a visual treat at the start. Okay, so as we mentioned, you can get ready things like glue and all this. Okay, so you can then glue some of this down. So white glue is pretty good. Okay, you can just put some glue onto it and then just let it stick for a bit. Mm. Sometimes with some of the ready-made crafts, you have like very interesting pom-poms like these. Okay, so you can think about how you might want to use some of these. Okay, but I think it's always nice to have a mixture. Okay, some that are made by hand. Okay, so it's really like from our hearts, right? And then to have some of these to kind of like decorate. And even, textures, you could even think about doing like all these googly eyes, right? I'm gonna make mine into like a little, one of it is gonna be a little creature that says dear auntie, dear uncle. Okay. So whatever you can find around in the house. I have some of these spare, so I thought, I'll just use them. Okay. Um, maybe I need a smaller one so it doesn't. easier to. And don't forget, okay, we are supposed to mail this over to Block 199, okay, Toa Payoh North, okay, uh, unit number 08-1003, okay, and that's Singapore 310199. Yeah, I will put some of these details down in the comment section later on. Okay, but so you can once you're done with the card, you can also put it into give each card an envelope, okay, so that each individual senior can really get a personal feeling upon receiving it. Right. Anyway, some of the white glue you can consider applying it more liberally. Okay, also because white glue dries transparent, so it's easy to just kind of be more invisible that way. And one more reminder for all of us is, when you're done with the cards, okay, take a photo of the card so we can share it on Facebook. Okay, you can decide whether to include your faces, okay, in these photos or not. Okay. Just a reminder, I think Moses did tell us, okay, that we shouldn't be using too much glitter, okay, or stuff that would kind of like, when you open up, you kind of like come apart. Okay, so I think basic materials are good. Okay, I think what Moses did the other day, if you go back and check the uh, Silver Good pages, you will notice he did like a kind of like a pop-up card. Okay. So other things that add texture, it would be good. So you can use things like cardboard, okay, or even like corrugated cardboard. Okay, something that they can kind of like touch and feel, okay, and be kind of like stimulated also, right, in a very tactile manner. Evan, how many pom poms have you made already?
I'm still on my second one.
Second one. Huh? So I think for all of us, like this might be a good opportunity to um, practice some of these skills. Okay, but also, like it depends on how much time you have. If you have sufficient time, okay, then by all means, go ahead and um, take a bit more time to finish up each piece. Okay, but otherwise, okay, if you're pressed for time, I think you can just do like simple pom poms. If you're not too fussy, a quick one will take you maybe about like I would say a few minutes to do, right, Karen?
You mean what? The DIY pom pom or the ready-made pom pom?
Uh, the DIY ones, like we you can keep it simple like that, right? Then you can just use it to decorate.
Yeah, I think it's the size of it because mine is a little bit bigger. Yes.
Yeah.
So the smaller, it's really much. I think the time will be shorter. It's a
Mm.
trimming. I think the trimming that takes quite some time.
Yep. Okay, so the size of your pom pom matters, and how big you're making it. The ones that I'm making, I'm using a fork, right? So, it's only about, as you can see, on the palm of my hand, it's only about that size. So these ones are quite easy, quite manageable. Then if you want to have some varying sizes, you can work with the bigger ones. Okay, but bearing in mind that bigger ones will take slightly longer time to kind of like make it nice and fluffy.
Mm.
Okay, so as I mentioned just now, some of these you can kind of add other elements in it. So it could be like some drawing, okay, some text, okay, not too much text, okay, but some simple text, okay, like just going to write, dear auntie, dear uncle. Then you can decorate this in any way that you want. Okay, I've kind of thought of these as like little creatures in HDB flats.
Oh, reminds me of Pac-Man though.
Yeah. I kind of see these little figures like, little rays of sunshine, okay, and then these are like sometimes the fireworks that we see, okay. Sometimes nowadays, fireworks displays go all the way to the community, right? So it's not just only at the national stadium or in the city center.
Mm.
Okay, so some tips for us, as we're doing this, just make sure. I think it's good to use at least slightly thicker drawing block paper. Okay, I think sometimes some of us are used to using office paper, right? But I think unfortunately with office paper, sometimes it's a bit too thin. It can't really hold up some of the glue and some of the textures. Okay, at least like with this, it's still kind of like quite firm, right? Still can hold up quite well.
Yeah, colored paper as well.
Color papers as well. Yes, we're kind of coming to the end of like 30 minutes, okay, which is the time that we said we'll set aside to work with you. Karen, do you have any tips for them before we kind of go off?
Um, I mean, maybe just to explore different materials besides yarn, fabric. I have ribbon here as well.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, ribbon. Did you mention about ribbon earlier on?
yeah, there. So this is the ribbon that it's like a pom pom ribbon. So you can
Yep.
try different materials lah.
Yep. So using the same principles, right, but to create all these
Mm.
different textures, like even fabric. I think, with different types of fabric, you want to recycle some of your older clothes. I think you can use this to create like interesting patterns as well, right? And
Yeah.
it's a good way to upcycle and use it for a lot of these different art projects.
Mm.
Okay. So yeah, so when you have done kind of like a card like that, then you can, write your text inside, okay, for um auntie and uncle. Okay. And then of course, just make sure that you give sufficient time for the glue to dry. Okay, so some of mine are dropping off for now. Okay, but yeah, once you let it stick for a bit, okay, let it settle and then work on the inside. Or maybe you might want to do the inside first, right? And then after that come to the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good. So yeah, I think we are coming to the end of our session. I think we will kind of sign off over here. Yeah. Okay,
Okay,
so thank you everybody.
thank you.
Okay, and so remember, as I mentioned, okay, add interesting elements, and once you're done with the cards, okay, take a photo of each card, post it on Facebook, and then mail the cards over to us at 199 Toa Payoh North, unit number 08-1003. Okay, Singapore 310199. Okay, and I think we need you to kind of try to post them by 15 December. Okay, so that we will receive them by 19 December. Okay, so don't forget those dates.
Yeah,
Okay,
15 and yeah.
yeah. Okay,
Okay.
and the last thing, okay, before I go off, we anticipate, okay, we might not be able to get photos of the seniors when they receive your cards, okay, but we hope that you understand, okay. Sometimes I think, especially nowadays with PDPA, we are more strict on this, so I think, but I think they will really appreciate the efforts that you put in. So thank you,
Mm,
everybody.
thank you.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye.